All right, so we got two games tonight in the NBA, and both of them are coming down to the same question. Because are you betting the better team, or are you paying way too much to do so? Because, yes, Phoenix probably wins. Oklahoma City probably wins. That's not the hard part. The hard part is figuring out whether either one of those teams is worth laying this kind of number in April when motivation, minutes, and last-minute lineup nonsense can wreck a handicap in a hurry. Hey, it's Joe Raineri of WagerTalk.com, and we got a couple of games here tonight with some playoff implications. Mavericks at the Suns, Thunder at the Clippers. Let's start in Phoenix, where both these teams are playing the second of a back-to-back after losing last night. And right now, the Suns are laying around the 11.5 number, the total 231.5, and the number has basically been bouncing from that open of 10.5 to 11.5 all day. There are still some questions as to who might not play in the second of a back-to-back in this spot for both teams, but you really wouldn't think it matters much because Dallas has been awful. And the last time they have won, well, they did win a couple of games earlier, but they have lost 9 of their last 11. And they're coming off another one of those losses last night on the road against the Clippers. And there's really not much to debate about whether or not Phoenix is the better team here. But if the market, I think, really trusted Phoenix, this thing probably would have gotten a little higher than just 11.5. And it still may at this point, but it just hasn't yet. And that tells me that the books in the market still respect the same thing we've all been watching. Phoenix, yeah, they're going to be the winner. But that doesn't automatically make Phoenix the right bet, and there's a difference. Because laying double digits with the Suns means you're asking them to do more than just show up and be better. You are asking them to play like a serious favorite for 48 minutes, and not exactly like they have been dependable all season in that front. In fact, just last night, they blew a 21-point lead at home to Houston. They got hammered on the glass, 55-34, and now they're sitting in the play-in instead of hopefully locking something better down. And that's the tax that you're paying when you lay this number with them. Now, the case for Phoenix, certainly easy enough to make, right? Dallas has had real defensive issues all season long, mostly because, well, they just don't play any. But their offense has also been super inconsistent all season. I mean, let's face it, it's either Cooper flag or bust here with Dallas. And if Phoenix can get some decent shot making from Booker and Green, then they've got a clean path to not only win, but to cover this. So yes, best shot to win the game is with Phoenix, and I think that part is obvious. But the dog case is still the better betting case here in this game because Phoenix has not been consistent enough to wear double-digit favorite pricing comfortably, not at all. And Dallas doesn't need to be good. They just need to hang around, and that is the decision to make here. Because if Dallas stays attached early, Phoenix, well, they got to prove that they can actually finish the cover instead of just leaving the back door swing wide open in the fourth quarter, which they have known to be doing a lot this season. So for me, I think the side and the value is with Dallas getting the 11.5. I would make it playable to 10.5. I don't want anything to do less than that. But that's the only way I could look at it right here. Because Phoenix, yes, they should win. We were on Phoenix last night and thought that game was pretty well in hand until, of course, the fourth quarter came and, yeah, it wasn't in hand anymore. But Phoenix should win. What the hell does that mean these days in the NBA? The answer is not much. It doesn't mean that I want to pay the price to see them win and cover. And as far as the total goes, I think the under 231.5, 230 slightly has some value there. If Dallas once again struggles offensively, I think the under has a clean path. But this is not a strong total spot. I think it's correlated. If you like Dallas, you like this to go up and over. I think if you like Phoenix, well, then the under might be the way to go. But I do think the side is the better angle in this spot. Now, before we get to the Thunder and the Clippers, just a quick heads up, by the way, because if you like this style of breakdown, well, you've got an opportunity here that I'm going to talk about coming up. Now, before we get to the Thunder and Clippers, just a quick heads up that if you like this style of breakdown, go ahead, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, become part of the WagerTalk TV family, and get ready because at the end of this preview, I'm going to offer you a chance to partner with me through the NBA Finals at a ridiculous limited time offer discount. You're going to want to hear all about it. But first, let's get to the more interesting game, if we could, here tonight. And that's the Oklahoma City Thunder at the Los Angeles Clippers here. And this one, to me, is all about, do you trust the board before the paperwork is fully settled? The Thunder opened up 6.5, total 225.5. We saw this afternoon. We watched it hit as high as 7.5, 226.5, and then we saw the buyback on the Clippers in a lot of spots. 6.5, 7 now is what we're seeing in most spots. And that's not some panic move, and it's not some crazy steam move, but it is enough to tell you that the market, at least some of it, still respects OKC's ceiling, while the other part of the market thinks the Clippers maybe not getting enough credit. Now, the case for the favorite in this spot is real, and we know it because OKC just buried the Lakers last night, 123-87. They've won 6 straight, 18 of 19, and they can clinch the top seed in the West with a win or a Spurs loss tonight. They're taking on Portland a little bit earlier. So this isn't some meaningless late April coast spot unless the starters tell us otherwise. Now, that said, it's still a back-to-back here for both of these teams, both the Clippers and OKC. The Clippers, however, no travel. They remain at home, and they're still fighting for play-in position here. And they just beat Dallas last night to help themselves at that play-in race that's going on. They don't want to drop past the 8th seed because then they got to win 2 games instead of 1 to get to the playoffs. So the betting question is simple here. Are you betting the Thunder and their power rating, or are you thinking about backing the Clippers and their sense of urgency? Because if OKC brings the normal minutes to that main group of starters and they're intact here tonight, they absolutely have the best offense in the matchup, and they will be able to separate. Now, that's the case for the favorite. But if this turns into an even crazier some sort of maintenance spot because Portland's blowing out San Antonio and we're looking at fewer minutes, or one key guy sits last minute, one surprise downgrade, suddenly 6.5 or 7.5, well, that's going to get heavy real fast if you're laying that with OKC. And to me, that's why the home dog is a little more interesting here, especially with Jalen Williams sitting as a game-time decision on the board, and that's not small. That's one of those actual swing factors in this game, because the biggest decision here is, what is the late game intent going to be here? Not just who starts better, but which team will be willing to let key guys and their starters go 38, 40-plus minutes if need be, because the Clippers need this in a much more practical way than OKC. OKC has bigger goals, and they have a lot more flexibility in this spot with only a handful of games remaining. Now, the Clippers are still fighting for every bit of standing that they can grab. So my lean, Clippers, plus the points at home. If you can get the 7.5, I get it. I do think if Jalen Williams is announced in and there's no other surprises, you might be able to get a little bit of a better number. But so far, the market kind of buying back here with the Clippers once we got to 7.5, and I tend to agree with that. But I think this is a wait-and-see spot. I don't think it's a blind pregame grab, just lay it now with OKC or grab the points with the Clippers here. I would hold off here because I think the home dog is viable even if Williams and all the starters are going for OKC. I think it's playable to about 5.5. I wouldn't look at it anything lower than that, but this is one where I'd much rather react to confirmed reports than guess early on and act smart about it later. I do expect Kawhi, Garland, Mathurin, even Collins to go for the Clippers. So the big question on who's in and who's out, I think that resides with OKC. As far as the total goes, I lean the over 227.5, especially if OKC is at full strength. I'd rather look over than under for sure, but this total is injury report dependent more than any sort of conviction that I have one way or the other. I don't think there's any need to force it on the total. So quick recap here, guys. We've got the Mavericks here, 10.5 to 11.5. That's who I like tonight, getting the points. I do lean the under in that spot there at 231.5 against Phoenix. And the Clippers, I'll take the 7.5. If OKC's main group is in, even so, I think it's playable down to 5.5. I'm going to lean towards the under for now in that game, but I don't love the total there. So there you got it. 2 games here tonight, 2 games. Hopefully we answered the questions for you. And by the way, if you like this style of breakdown, where we're looking at the numbers, the market moves, the injury angles, and whether the price has gone too far or not, where is the value. This is exactly how we've attacked the NBA board every night this season. And the results, well, they've backed it up, guys. 111, 80-2 on the season. That is a 58.3 winning percentage in over 191 plays. And my clients and I were up 54 units on the season. So if you want to partner with me and keep the profits rolling through the NBA playoffs, you can lock in every one of my best bets through the NBA Finals right now, just $199. But you got to hurry because this is a limited time offer and you've got 2 days left to take advantage. So head over to my page at WagerTalk.com. You can use the shortcut code WT.buzz/JR. That's always a good way to start. Or just head over to the links that are posted in the description below. This all-access package, guys, is going to give you all the top plays I am personally betting now through the NBA Finals. So thanks again for watching. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and make sure to check out all the other great Wager Talk daily game previews that we have up on our YouTube channel. And good luck tonight. Let's cash some tickets, and we'll see you again here on Wager Talk TV.